Welcome to the Built for the Trades podcast. Today, I am recapping my interview with Stephen Christopher. If you had not had a chance to listen to that, press pause here, go back. There's a link. You can click that link, go to Spotify or iTunes or any podcast platform. I encourage you to listen to that interview because in the recaps is all about just pulling out one leadership principle and really just nailing it down and taking it home for everybody listening, and just talking more about how that applies to leading in business today. So, welcome to the show. When it comes to the interview I did with Stephen, we talked about some of the benefits was reduced stress, more clarity, able to grow your leadership to the next level. And as I was listening back to it and taking notes and preparing for the show, the big thing that stood out that he said was your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And, it hit home with me because I work with a lot of business owners, including myself, right? I'm not exempt from this, that are growing their businesses. There's a lot of different systems and procedures that we can implement in any business and see almost instantaneous ROI. But there's always a ceiling that every leader gets to that is really difficult to push past because it takes growing yourself, maturing yourself as a leader, learning how to communicate, learning how to have a clear vision, learning how to apply yourself to all different areas of your life, to level up, to really push past that ceiling in your business and ultimately in your leadership. So I wanted to talk more about that today. I was thinking back to a quote that Ray Kroc said. He says, the quality of a leader is reflected in the standards they set for themselves. The quality of a leader is reflected in the standards they set for themselves. There is so many times in the trades, and probably any industry, that we take and we make somebody a leader based on their production, based on their sales. And we tend to not look back to some other qualities like, this person's home life. How are they leading at home? Or this person's ability to be positive, or this person's ability to actually be applying themselves and growing themselves outside of just the day-to-day work. This person's ability to manage their time. So there's so many different things that we should be looking at as leaders. And so I want you to start thinking about that. In the podcast, we were talking about the story about, the person who says, yeah, when I make $1 million, I'm going to start giving at that point, right? I don't really have the money to give now, but when I start making $1 million, I will start giving. And the point is if you're not willing to give now, then you're not going to be willing to give when you have $1 million. And so it's the same thing when it comes to growing our leadership and growing who we are as a person. If we're not willing to carve out some time and put in the work now, then we're definitely not going to be willing to put in the work later when it's really going to be necessary. Like I said, anybody can help you grow your business to a certain level, but if you wait till then to start carving out some time to maintain yourself and level up who you are as a person, then it's too long. You've waited too long, and when the opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare. So, a few, besides your outer world reflects your inner world, he shared a great little meditation that we can all do. Just driving home from work, driving home from anywhere. It was 3 steps. I'm going to recap it here in case you missed it. But the first one was just getting in the car and for 1 to 2 to 3 minutes, just sitting in your chair, turning everything off, just breathing and just focusing on your breathing, really getting present there. And the next step was, as you start to drive home, don't be speeding home and driving like a maniac. Just put your truck on cruise and start to let go of all those stressful thoughts from work or anywhere else in your life. Like when you think about it, just kind of let it go. And then when you pull up in your driveway in step 3, you repeat that first step. Just sit there for 1 or 2 or 3 minutes. You can close your eyes if you want to and just focus on your breathing. Become present because, in order to be a quality leader and to level up, We have to be, we don't have to be, it's good to be happy and fulfilled and really enjoy who we are and where we're at in the journey today. And so he talked about once you get out of your car, you go in, you interact with your pet or maybe your kids or your wife or husband or whatever it is. Instead of being focused on, man, all the things I didn't do at work or whatever, like instead of being your head focused somewhere else with your thoughts, work on just being present. Work on just, maybe it's your daughter who comes up and gives you a hug and says, Daddy, I'm so happy you're home. And instead of pushing her off or just kind of ignoring it, stopping and just being like, wow, like this is what happiness looks like. And then just looking around and being grateful for what you have and just being present in that moment. Steve made a comment that, you can grow a $10 million business and think that that's going to bring you happiness, but it's so fleeting. Like you get there and now you're on to the next big thing, right? You never really grasp that happiness, that joy, that fulfillment in your life versus taking a minute just to be present with your kid and really be grateful and really just interact with them on their level. That brings more happiness, fulfillment, joy than growing a $10 million business ever would. So the leadership thought for today is start to maintain your life now so that way when the opportunity comes in the future where you're at a certain level and growing your business, your department, whatever it is, you're ready for that opportunity. You're not waiting for the opportunity. You're not waiting to start later on in life. And as you do that, meditation is a great practice to do that. I shared that I do 5 minutes a day every weekday, so 5 days a week. And I don't do it on the weekends typically, but what I see out of it is I see that I'm a happier person because I meditate. I see that I'm more present. I enjoy my life more because I'm able to be present in most situations and realize that how blessed I truly am to have the opportunity to do what I do. And so it's a really cool feeling when you get to that point. And then as you start to practice that, the other great point that we talked about in there was, your thoughts lead to your words, lead to your actions, lead to your results. So as you start to do that meditation practice, whatever that looks like for you, it could be on your drive home, it could be sitting in a chair at work or at home, it could be 1 minute, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. Start to think about that flow, thoughts, words, actions, and even go deeper. It's what you watch, what you listen to, who you hang around will ultimately lead to the thoughts you have in your head. The thoughts will ultimately lead to your words, and your words will ultimately lead to your actions. And from there is going to be the results that you produce. And so it's something as simple as having somebody in your life to help hold you accountable and say, hey man, like the negative words that you're speaking, stop speaking so negative about yourself. The doubt, hey, I'm going to try to do this, or maybe I'm going to do that, or, no, either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. But if you're not going to do it, don't talk about it. And things like that will start to take you to the next level in what you're doing. And so that's really the point I wanted to bring across here on the recap, is that your outer world's a reflection of your inner world. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your company, you don't like what you're seeing at home, you don't like what you're seeing in your life, work on yourself first and realize that leadership is influence. So if you become a better person, your outside world will become better because of it. But it takes starting now, starting small, and being consistent, because like Ray Kroc said, the quality of a leader is reflected in the standards they set for themselves. Hope y'all have an amazing day. If you like the podcast, please subscribe. I know you're listening to this on a social channel. The way this podcast works is we do one interview. We have that on all the podcast platforms. So you can listen to it there, and then you can come to our Facebook page, our Instagram, to listen to this short recap. Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon.